Welcome back, dear students. In today's video, I am going to discuss dictionary. A dictionary is like a list only, but more general. In a list, the index positions have to be integers, whereas in a dictionary, the indices can be of any type, maybe integer, or say for example float, or even maybe string. We can think of dictionary as a mapping between set of indices, which are commonly called as keys, and set of values. Means a dictionary contains two group of elements. One group of elements are called as indices or also called as keys, and another group of elements are called as values. There will be always a mapping between keys and values. Each key maps to a value. The association of a key and a value is called key value pair or sometimes an item. As an example, we will build a dictionary that maps from English to Kannada words. So the keys and the values are all strings because English string, Kannada words even both are strings. Let us now build such a dictionary. There is a function called a dict which creates a new dictionary with no elements. Means it is going to create an empty dictionary. Because dict is name of a built-in function, and as usual we should not use that as a variable name. Okay, so here we are going to create a dictionary, say whose name is Ing to KN, nothing but English to Kannada, which is equal to the function dict. This particular statement is going to create a empty dictionary whose name is Eng to KN. If we print that dictionary, it will going to just print a empty curly brackets. The curly brackets represent an empty dictionary. To add items to the dictionary, we can use square brackets. Something like this. Say for example, if at all I want to add one item to this, Eng to KN, English to Kannada, of 1 is equal to 1 do. Say here, 1 is a key, whereas whatever is there in this square bracket, that is a key, and equal to whatever we have assigned is a value. Value of this key. Value of 1 is 1 do. This line creates an item that maps the key 1 to the value 1 do. If we print the dictionary again, we see a key value pair with a colon between the key and value, something like this. If we print the dictionary, we'll get, say within a curly braces, earlier it was empty, now it contains one element, which is, say this is a key 1 and its value is 1 do. So before we proceed further, let's see one example in a terminal and later we'll continue. So first I should start the Python interpreter by using a command python 3, and now here, say if I want to create a dictionary from English to Kannada is equal to, say function dict, and if I print that, empty curly brackets. Now here I want to add some element to this. So let me add first one element. English to Kannada of, this is a key, is equal to, its value should be written 1 do. Now if I print English to Kannada, so using a print function, if I print it, we can see 1 is to 1 do. So here colon is going to separate key and the value. So the left side of the colon is called a key and the right side of the colon is called a value. This is a value of this key. So now continuing with this, the input format is similar to that of output format. Means if at all, say for example, we can create a new dictionary with 3 elements where say Eng to Kn is equal to, here say we can create a dictionary with 3 elements, 1 is to 1 do, comma 2 is to 2, comma 3 is to 3. So means whatever the output format we saw just now, even the input format is similar to the same thing. This is the output whatever say we printed out of English to Kannada dictionary. So now, so I'll create a one dictionary, say same English to Kannada with 3 entries in it, means 3 keywords. Say I'll write 1 is to, say 1 do, comma 2 is to eradu and comma. So now 3 is to say here more, and this is the end of the dictionary. We have not put a single quote here. Now so this is, if I print English to Kannada, so there are 3 elements. Look at this. This is how I had given 1 1 2 2 3 3 whereas when I print it, so initially I am getting 2, later 1 and later 3. Means the order in which I had given the key value pair, see in that order it is not appearing. So if I print once again, yes, so here I am getting 2 initially. Even if you execute, you may get say 3 initially or 1 initially, say which cannot be predicted in advance. So it doesn't matter, so whether, say if we see here, this is 1 1 2 2 3 3, this is how we have assigned, whereas here we are getting 3 3 2 1 1, means the order in which key value pair appears may not be predicted. Okay, the order of key value pairs is not same. In fact, if we type the same example in a different computer, if you type that, we might get a different result. In general, the order of items in a dictionary is unpredictable. We cannot predict. But that's not a problem, because we are going to access any element only by using its key. We cannot access using any index value here. Here index value itself will be a key. So because of that, whatever the value we want to access, the order doesn't matter. The elements of a dictionary are never indexed with integer indices. Because of that, there is nothing like the order. Whatever may be the order, because we access it using a key, say that doesn't matter. Like here print English to Kannada 2 is eradu only. Okay, whether it appears first or second, say wherever key will be there, its value will be present in that order. The key to always maps to the value eradu. So the order of the items doesn't matter. If the key isn't in the dictionary, we get an exception. Like say here, print English to say Kannada, say which is 4. Say if I type here, say for example, say if I print English to Kannada of 1, let us consider I'll get 1 only. If I print say for example 3, irrespective of where it appears, we'll get its value. If I print that key which doesn't appear, obviously we'll get an error stating a key error 4, means which is not present in the dictionary. The in operator works on dictionaries. It tells us whether key is in the dictionary present. Like 1 in dictionary, 1 in English to Kannada, true. 1 in English to Kannada, false. Means remember what it checks is, it will going to check only keys and not the values. So if we see, 1 is a key whereas 1 is a value. So like if I print here, say English to Kannada dictionary, 2 is a key, 1 is a key and 3. These are keys, whereas eradu, 1, 3 are the values. I can use in operator 1 in English to Kannada, yes, true. Similarly, I can type say for example 3 in English to Kannada, true. Whereas if I type say 4 in English to Kannada, false. Not only that, say if I type 1 in English to Kannada, even it will be false. Means what, say in operator is going to check only keys in a dictionary, not the values, because 3 is a key of a dictionary, 1 is a key of a dictionary, whereas 1 is a value of a dictionary. It will going to check only for the keys. In operator is going to work only on the keys of a dictionary, not on the values of the dictionary. To see whether something appears as a value in the dictionary, we can use the method values, which returns the values as a list and then use the in operator. Like using in operator, we can test whether a particular key appears in a dictionary or not. Whereas if at all I want to test whether a particular value appears in a dictionary or not, I cannot use a in operator. Instead of that, what we can do is, we can get a list of the values using, there's a method called values in a dictionary. So we can use that method which will return all the values, and that will be converted to a list and stored in a variable called vals. Okay. Later we can check a particular value in that cell list. Say if I take here one example, the same example here, what I do, I'm going to convert the dictionary values. Say this is initially English to Kannada dictionary. So this will be converted to a list. The values of this dictionary will be converted to list using, so list is a function. So the argument for this is English to Kannada dot values, which will going to return the values. This particular method, a dictionary method called values, is going to return all the values present in the dictionary, and that will be, say, using a list, those values will be converted to a list and it will be stored in a list called vals. Now, say if I print vals, say it is a list containing only values. We can see eradu, vandu, mooru. And now if I want to find, say whether, say vandu in vals true. Even similarly, mooru in vals true. The in operator uses different algorithms for lists and dictionaries. So in case of list, implementation of in operator will be different for list and dictionaries, because in dictionaries it will going to check only for the keys, not for the values. For list it uses a linear search algorithm, because there will be only a list of elements will be there. It will just going to search linearly one after the another. As a list goes longer, the search times gets longer in a direct proportion to the length of the list. Consider that there is a list with only 3 elements, and if you search a first, say, element in that, it will print very quickly, and if you search a third element, it will take us some time, because the third element will come after checking first, second only. If the list is very lengthier, like say for example if it contains 1000 elements, the time taken to search a first element will be, say, very much lesser than the time taken to search the 1000th element, because of the linear search. Whereas for dictionary, Python uses an algorithm called a hash table. This is a very important algorithm in computer science. Okay, so it uses a hash table algorithm that has a remarkable property. The important property of that is the in operator takes about the same amount of time, no matter how many items are there in a dictionary. Means whether a dictionary contains 10 items or whether a dictionary contains 1000 items, irrespective of the length of a dictionary or number of items in a dictionary, the in operator is going to take same amount of time to access any element. So this is because it is going to use a hash table. The algorithm that uses a search is implemented using a hash table. So dictionary as a set of counters. So where we can use a dictionary. So basically we can use a dictionary. One example I will give you in a real-time scenario. So whenever we'll write a Google inside, say for example Google website, when we type a particular word, consider that we'll type a particular word, and for that the search engine is going to display so many links where that word appears. How Google, without a fraction of second, it will going to search. That will be based on a dictionary. So the concept is very much similar to that of a dictionary, which we are going to see now. What it does is, whenever a new web page is built, it is going to pass through the page, convert all the pages into lines and lines into words, and it will going to store all the words with a particular keywords where it appears and everything, all that say options, and using that particular method it will going to display. In some other class we are going to discuss how the Google is going to work, but remember, say, it will uses same the concept as in case of dictionary. Suppose there is a string and we want to count how many times each letter appears, then there are several ways. Consider that a technology park is a one string, and in that how many times a T appears, E appears, K appears, I want to find. To do that, basically there are 3 ways here we see. The first one is, we could create 26 variables, one for each letter of the alphabet. Then we could traverse the string, and for each character increment the corresponding counter using a chained conditional. So very simple. Initially we are going to create 26 variables. We don't differentiate between capital and small letters. Ignoring the cases, we are going to create 26 variables for like a count, B count, something like that for each alphabet. Then we could traverse the string. Whatever the string will be given, we'll traverse the string, and for each character we'll increment a corresponding counter using a chained conditional. Very simple. So this we'll see because this will be a little bit bigger example, say what I do is, here directly I am going to use the count character using 26 variable. Okay, here I have written the program because it is little bit lengthier to type. So very simple. This program is going to initially declares 26 variables like a count is 0, b count is 0, so on to say y and z count is 0. And I'll ask the user to input a string, some string, and for char in a string, for every char in a string, if that char is equal to a, then I'll increment that a count is equal to a count plus 1. If char is equal to b, b count is equal to b count plus 1. Here also we'll use elif. Say this is a chained conditional. If character is a, then do this. If b, do this. So on to else. If it is g, else it is h. So on to say for all the characters, we'll write a chain conditional like this. Say if the character, if it is equal to z, then increment is this. Okay. And later we are going to print a count. A count is this, b count is this, so on to z count is this. It's a very simple program that we have written. Okay. Say if I execute this using a Python 3 interpreter, it is asking a string. Say let me write a string as technology, right? So here it has, even though there are so many different letters which doesn't appear, it has printed all the counts because a count is 0, b count is 0, so on to, but c count is there. Why c count is there? Because there is c is there. Which particular word appears twice? Letter O appears twice, once here and other here. So we can see O count is 2. So remaining all, say even y count is 1, w count is 1. Means irrespective whether a particular letter appears in a string or not, so we have printed all the counts. Okay, this is one of the very simple but a little bit lengthier to write the program, but a simple, very simple logic where we have taken 26 variables as a counters which we have initialized to 0, and for every character we'll check whether using a chained conditional whether that is a b, something like that, and we'll increment. If at all we want case insensitive, say you can use a upper or lower string method to convert to a one case and then compare. So that I think you can understand. If you have any doubts in making this case insensitive, you can ask me. I am going to tell that. Okay, so now the second method here is, so we could create a list with 26 elements. Instead of creating 26 variables, we will create one list that contains 26 elements. Then we could convert each character to a number. Whatever a character appears in a string, we'll convert that to a number. So there is a one built-in function called ORD. Using that ORD function, we are going to convert a character to a number, use the number as the index into the list, and increment the appropriate counter. Now using, if it's a, say for example inside the string there is a character called a, that a will be converted to a number and that number will be used as an index into the list to increment appropriate counter. Means these 26 elements are nothing but 26 counters. Let us see the implementation of this particular program using the second method. Okay, so here also for this already have written a program because it is lengthier. That program now name is this count char underscore list. Okay, so I'll show you that program. So this is count character using list. So very simple. The program, Python program to count number of characters in a string using, this is not using 26 variables, so this is using list. Previous one was using 26 variables, but this is using a list. Here look at this, the name of the list is counts. It has 26 elements in it. A list with 26 variables, or say you can call it as a 26 elements. Okay, so this is a list containing 26 elements or even items. String is equal to input, enter the string. We are going to ask the user to enter a string. Now for char in a string, we'll check whether that is alphabet, because this particular program say is going to count only alphabets A to Z. Because of that, there is a one method in a string called isAlpha. It will going to return true if the given character is alphabet. If it is not alphabet, it will return false. For that purpose, if char dot is alpha, if it is a alphabet, the whatever the character it is returned here, say selected here, if it is alphabet, then I is equal to, say we have taken a variable called I, say what we are doing here is, this character first we are converting to uppercase letter. Say for example, if a character is small a, it will be converted to uppercase letter. Say uppercase letter means capital A, and that character will be converted to a number using odd function. Upper is going to convert a given character to a uppercase letters, and odd function is going to convert that to a number. If we see, say a small a using a upper method, it will be converted to capital A, whose using a odd function it will be converted to number, and whose ASCII value will be say 65. Now I here will be, say for example, if it is a minus means a is nothing but 65, minus 65 is equal to 0, means I will get a value 0. And now this I am going to use as a index of the list, and list name is counts. Counts of I is equal to counts of I plus 1. If there appears a small b or capital B remains a uppercase letter whose ASCII value is 66. So if I use here for B, it will be 66 minus 65, which is nothing but say 1. I will be 1, and this time the counts of 1, which is nothing but second element, will be incremented. Means based on whether it is A or B, if it is Z, then last element means the 26th element will be incremented. It's a very simple method. Say this particular statement is going to convert a character to index, and here increment the count of a particular character, means indexed character. We are going to print the counts of a character in a list, like say for I in a range line of counts is a list. Print. Look at this. Now I want to print like a count, B count. So try to understand this. It's very simple. This is 65 because here I have subtracted from a character. I have subtracted 65. So I am adding 65, which is a equivalent of capital A. To that index will be added. If index is 0, it will be A. If index is 1, means I is 1, it will be B. If I is say for example 25 here, it will be say for example Z. Okay. In that case, here we will get the ASCII value of a given character, and that ASCII value, which is a number, will be converted to a character using a function called CHR. The function ORD is going to convert a character to a number, and the function CHR is going to convert a number to a character. Okay, and later to that underscore count, means if it is A, like A underscore count is equal to, that value will be displayed. So let us see the execution of this program. Python 3, enter a string, technology. Now we can see. So because the way it has printed, A count is this, B count is this, C count, D count, something like that. Okay, O count is 2. So if I use some other word here, like same simple thing, something like Z, X, A, Q. We can see Z appears thrice, X appears once, Q appears twice, and even A appears twice. So this is very simple. The same thing we have done, but using a list. The earlier program was using 26 variables, but see, there we have not used any list. It was a very simple program using 26 variables. It was lengthier to write, but here it is very simple to write. You can see the number of lines here, and even very easier to understand also. And one more thing here is, say for example, instead of 65, because I know, say the equivalent, the ASCII value of A is 65, which I remember I have subtracted. Otherwise, what you can do is, you can subtract something like this. That also you convert to a number and subtract. Okay. If it is A is, if A, the value of A is subtracted from, it will be 0. If the value of A is the subtracted from B, it will be 1, something like that. And here also, what you can do is, you can use odd function, then convert that to a number and execute. So just I am showing a little modification. If you have any doubts, how to remember that 65. Just a minute, there is a problem. I have used once single quote and another time it's double quote. Okay, TCHKNOWLOGY, same thing, right? Okay, with this we'll see the third method of doing the same thing. The third method is we could create a dictionary with the characters as keys. Remember, in these two, the above two methods, even though there were only few characters, we have printed all the counts, right, from A to Z, 26 counts. That's not really required. If there is, say, for example, say less number of characters in a string, we need not want those counts whose value is 0. Okay, we could create a dictionary with the characters as keys and counters as corresponding values. The first time we see a character, we would add an item to a dictionary. After that, we would increment the value of existing item. Simple thing. So what the third method does is, we are going to create a dictionary, initially empty dictionary. Later we'll pass through a string. When we, for the first time when we get a character, we are going to add that character to a dictionary and make the value is equal to 1. We'll add the key, that character as a key, and the value will be initially 1. Next time, if that particular character appears, instead of adding it, if it appears, we are going to increment its value. Like if A appears for the first time, we are going to add and make the value equal to 1. If it appears next time, it will be incremented, say, to 2, 3, so on. So we'll write this particular program. Have written the program, say, using a dictionary. I'll explain this. Python program to count a number of characters in a string. So this is using dictionary. So here, say, as usual, ask the user to enter a string. This is a function. A dict is a function which will going to create an empty dictionary, and the name of that dictionary is D. Now, for item in this items, for C in a string, if C not in D, means if this C is not in D, initially the D dictionary will be empty, say no character will be there. Say if C, this particular, let us consider if C is A, if that C is not in D, what it does is, it will going to add, see, D of C, this dictionary, say one element will be added whose the key is C, means if C is equal to A, it will be A and its value will be 1. If it is not in a dictionary, let us consider if, say, because this time we are going to add, next time it will be there in a dictionary, say the else part will be executed, where the else part will going to increment the value of that. D of C is equal to D of C plus 1. This particular statement will going to increment the value of this key, whereas if that character is not there in a dictionary, it will be added and there later the value will be made equal to 1. Later we are going to print the dictionary. Print D will going to print the dictionary. Very simple. Okay. So dict will going to create an empty dictionary whose name is D, and for a character in a string, whatever the string we have read, if that character is not there, add it and make the value equal to 1. If it is there, say already if it exists, increase the count. Okay. So because if for the first time if will be executed, and later for that character only else part will going to execute. Let us execute this using Python 3 interpreter. Say enter a string technology. Say here we can see T will not be there. First time it will be added using if part, and say for similarly, say for example here O will be added for the first time, and second time the else part will be executed here. Now we can see D1, G1, L1, K1, say up to this only if a part of the for loop will be executed, means except for O, only once if part is executed, because O appears twice, the second time the else part is executed. Say if I type, say for example Q, we will get only count for Q. Say if I type, say for example APPLE apple, say look at this, it is even for A, small a and capital A, it will going to treat it differently. Like say I write A, A, P, P, you can see the count for capital P is different and small p is different. The count for capital A is different and small a is different. So that you can address by using a case insensitive method, which we have discussed. Here we have seen three different methods to count a number of characters inside the string. Three methods, one using 26 variables, another using a list of 26 elements, and third one by creating a dictionary. So each of these options perform the same computation, but each of them implements that computation in a different way. So now we'll see that implementation, whatever I have shown, the same thing little bit. The implementation is a way of performing computation. Some implementations are better than others. If we see, the first one is not proper, but the second one is good. So whereas the third one is still better. It depends upon how we are going to implement. For example, an advantage of a dictionary implementation is that we don't have to know ahead of time which letters appears in the string, and we only have to make a room for the letters that do appear. So in previous two methods, irrespective of whether that particular letter appears or not, we had created variables. Whereas in case of dictionary, we need not have to create the counters for all. Whichever appears will create the count for that particular character only. Okay. So the code using a dictionary, this is the code that we used. So I hope this is clear to you. So here we are effectively computing a histogram, which is a statistical term for a set of counters or frequencies. So this term histogram, basically many times it will be used in image processing to create a color histogram there. So what basically this histogram is, it is a relation between elements and its value. Like say for example, inside color picture, what is the strength of a red, what's its value, the average value of red, the average value of green. Okay, so or say for example, if it's a file, so how many times A appears 10 times, B appears 20 times. This particular relationship between a element and its value, normally we call it that as a histogram or frequencies of that value. The for loop traverses the string each time through the loop. If C is not in the dictionary, we create a new item with key C and initial value is 1. So here, if C is not there in a dictionary, say this will be taken, that C will be taken as a key and its initial value will be 1. So because we are going to get that for the first time. If C is already there in a dictionary, we are going to increment its value. And here is the output that we have seen for Apple. So this was the output. The histogram indicates that letter E appears, this whatever it indicates, E appears once, A appears once, similarly say P appears twice, so on. Okay. So dictionaries have a method called get. Okay. So there is a dictionary method called get that takes a key. So it is going to take a key and a default value. Even a default value of key can be given. If key appears in a dictionary, get returns corresponding value. Otherwise, it returns a default value. Say for example, so let us see this. What the get method does. Get method will basically has two parameters. It is going to take two arguments. Python 3. Right. So here, so let me create some dictionary whose name is counts, and say the key A appears 5 times, comma. Say for example, the key B appears 2 times. Say key D appears 6 times. Let us consider there are only 3. Now, if I just print count, this is a dictionary. Now, let me see that get method. I can use get method to check count dot get. So, I want to check whether A is there in a dictionary. If it is not there, return 0. That's the meaning. Because A is there, it has returned its value. If A is not present, it will going to return 0. Like say for example, say if I check it for X, 0. Because X is not present, it has returned a default value which is supplied. So default value can be anything. Even say for example, it can be -1. Okay. If I supply this on say A, return. If that particular element is not there, like in this case x is not there, it has returned a default value. Even we can use get without using a second argument, where it will going to just return a value of that particular key, and if it is not present, it doesn't return anything. Means say if it will be taken in, say for example print, it doesn't return anything, nothing but none. Whereas if I take up a default value for this, it will return a default value. So what we can do, we can use get to write our histogram loop more concisely, because the get method automatically handles the case where a key is not in a dictionary. We can reduce 4 lines down to 1 and eliminate if statement. So remember one thing, if key is not there in a dictionary, say that will be handled properly, because if it's not there in a dictionary, it doesn't return anything. So because of, if we use this get method, we can eliminate whatever we had written in a if block of the previous program. So let's say here, so if we see word is technology, d is equal to dict. Okay, so it will going to create a dictionary, empty dictionary. For C in word, for character in this word, d of character is, look at this, d dot get c comma 0. So the meaning here is get c. If this particular c is there in a dictionary, get its value and add 1 to that. Means if dictionary contains already some item like A whose value is 10, it will get that value 10 plus 1 will be added and it will become 11. Say for example, if the particular character, that is C, is not present in the dictionary, obviously this particular get method is going to return 0 and 0 plus 1 will be 1. Say this will be added, C will be added to a dictionary and it will going to initialize 1. Means only this statement will perform both if work and else work. Because if it is not present, the get will return 0. If it is present, the get will return the same value. Because of that, by using get method, we can write previous program. So I can show you that. Say here vi dictionary get.py. Give a reasonably proper name. Here say initially some word, instead of asking from the user, I can directly take here word is technology, and now d is equal to dict. It is going to create an empty dictionary. Say for char in word, say what I do, d of char, if it is there, then d dot get its value. That's the meaning. Get the value of char. If it's not there, then return 0. That's the meaning. And to that add 1. If it is there, get the value, add 1 to that and store. If it is not there, get the, say return 0, add 1 to that and store. And later print that dictionary D. Let me execute this using Python 3 interpreter. So here we can see, even though look at this, the y appears at the end, there is nothing like order here, because y is in technology, y is there at the end, but here it is at the beginning. So we cannot predict in which order it will going to, say the string, the dictionary will be created. That is unpredictable. Let us not worry much about that. Here we can see y is appears once, o appears twice, everything it has printed. This is the very simple, say the total, that big program reduced to a simple program which has only about 4 lines here using a get method, and say it handles both if and else block of previous program properly in this. So this above loop executes in following steps. Initially dictionary will be empty. Whatever the dictionary is created, it is empty. For every character in a word, if character is not present in the dictionary, then add that character with value 1. This will be created. 0 will be returned. 0 plus 1, 1. That a character will be added and it will be initialized with 1. If character is present, then in a dictionary, then increment the value of that dictionary element. If it is present, it will return its value and add 1 to that and then store. Hope this is clear to all of you, dear students. Thank you. Thank you for watching.